Okay, to start finishing this off, then there's a few other areas that we need to try and address and how we're going to sort of solve them. One is to get some thickness into, say, for instance, this tail piece here, and figure out what we're going to do with it. One, and sort of looking at where we're going with the collar. I think I'm going to need another edge loop down here. So Alt 1, I'm going to hold down Shift to drop it on so it follows the curve better of the existing one. And again, I could just go and run, my brush down it to make sure it's stuck to the surface, the conform brush, and it didn't look like it pushed anything through like it does sometimes. So Control Alt and Q, and we're going to give this thickness on the tail here. So in the polygon mode, I'm going to grab these. I'm in local mode, so I'm working in local right now, and the pivot center is using a pivot center for each. I'm just going to hold down. So this is something that's changed because if you hold down Shift right now, it extrudes. So that's how the new tools work in 2021. Is you hold down Shift and extrudes. So if you want to do what you used to be able to do, and that is copy polygons, it is Shift and Control, and we're going to copy those out and give us some thickness like there is in the actual petticoat, and that's going to have to come around into the pants. So I'm going to clone to element. Now those polygons are facing the same direction these are, so we can't get an edge across here because it'll want to flip them over. So we just need to say flip, so they're pointing in the opposite direction. You can see the normal flipped on the axis here, on the local axis. And then I'm going to go ahead and bridge those edges together. And of course, Alt 2 is our bridge tool. If we want to do them one at a time, we can go ahead and bridge these and bridge those up like that. And then we can figure out, if we're going to carry this one up, or what's going to happen here. There's something that's going to happen there. And of course, this edge should be brought together, and we're going to have to determine what happens here as well, and how those are going to connect back into the pants, and where we're going to throw triangles, because we've got several coming around underneath and probably not as many out in the shirt. But you can see now it's pretty easy to give it some thickness and make that fit around there. And if we show the original, right, the high res, we can see that we're fitting it to it pretty good. And again, we could go use our tools to make sure we snap right onto the surface, and make sure they're sitting on the surface there for us. And that's giving us, the proper thickness there, and how we're going to address some of these, corners and whatnot. We're going to have to get these things down nice and tight and close. And maybe extra rows around it. Again, it's something we're going to have to sort of look at case by case. And I'm actually looking at this, seeing this edge here might want to actually bridge all the way down to that one. So I'm going to go ahead and use the bridge tool and bridge this to that. And they actually might work. That might get us what we want. I'm going to need probably another edge loop through here. Maybe it'll go all the way around. Well, that may not be so bad. And I'm going to go in and put this one. So this is one of those things where you just sort of start finding what you need as you go. Not sure it's going to work exactly the way I want, but we'll see. I might want to pull this whole row down below, and then put another row on the bottom of the jacket all the way around to finish that off and keep this one on the bottom. That might work. We'll see. We'll see when we get there. Again, it's going to be sort of finessing things into place, ensuring that they come together the way you expect. So I'm kind of thinking that vertex needs to be down here, and then we can throw another row that's going to follow this hard edge around the bottom of the bottom of the vest. To make sure it has volume. We're going to end up throwing edge loops in several places to bring up the poly count a little bit and get the shape closer. Again, that's dependent really on sort of the requirements of the game. How many polygons am I allowed to use in this character? Now I have this area here, which is a big hole right now. and we need to address that as well. So we need to get that pocket in there. And we can see that some of these edge loops here are not evened out. So something you can do, again, if you take a look at the hotkeys involved, you can actually go ahead and move a vertex on the surface. Hold down shift, you can move an edge, and hold down control and shift, and you can move an entire edge loop along that surface and move the entire thing, which is mighty handy to be able to do and just be able to put it where you need. That way we can, drop them a little bit better where we're expecting them to be. Same with this one, maybe slide it down, and it makes our lives a whole lot easier. Maybe this one too a little bit, although I think this is where it's supposed to be, so I'm just going to bring that down a bit maybe. I'd have to take a look at the high res to see what I'm doing there. Yeah, that might, no, I'll leave it up high. I'll leave it like that. So let's then go ahead and fill this in. One of two ways we can do it. We could just pick the entire interior of it and cap it, and then add our, we could use the cut tool and add them in, or we could go ahead and, do the ability of just being able to put in our pieces and then weld them together as need be. So we could go in and just do that as well, which I'll just do. And it looks like we might need another one down here to continue the pocket. And by the way, if you weld edge loops, so if you're an edge and you use your target weld, it'll weld the vertices either side. So it's actually less work than welding vertices, just so you know. So you can see where this pocket open needs to be, and what I'm going to do is kind of do what I did before. I'm going to outline an area that needs to have that pocket in it. Go to my polygon tools and then do an inset on this. Okay, and then we can go ahead and use that inset to sort of define that pocket a bit more. So again, same thing. Where's the edges to it? And you can determine if you want to actually have a hole in there for the pocket now, because we can take these and we could again inset them in and then push those to the inside of the hole, and you're going to start getting a hole into the surface and an edge loop around it. So you can easily loop that edge now and pick up the edges that you need to be able to get. There we go. I'll push that in a little further. So that is looking pretty good. We could probably use some polygons in here. Again, I might just want to make triangles for those. But again, the edge loop idea is you can easily drop in an edge loop here and then just, set that on the surface, and you're going to get a nice loop effect happening that's picking up the actual form of the pocket a bit more. And again, it might take, some more edge loops in here to define that pocket shape a bit. But you can see now we're starting to get a pocket with a hole in it, and that'll look pretty good once we've got smoothing groups on there and everything else going. So, it'll pick it up. And again, what's the resolution that you're actually shooting for in your piece? And how's that going to affect everything? So now we need to figure out how to put this together. And what I'm thinking is this needs to come down and across. That'll give us more resolution around the pocket. But I don't want to do an edge loop all the way down the leg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a cut, and I'll just take that cut down to probably here for now. Oops, and I missed one because you can't do it blind. There we go. And maybe down to there, and same thing over here. I'm going to take it to there and to there and to there, and then we'll figure out where to put a triangle in there and probably get rid of those. But that's now again giving us some more here on the pocket so that we can work with those. So here's another tool I haven't used, is the conform brush, and it allows us to be able to pull a whole lot of stuff at once, which is nice because you can just kind of grab areas and shift to get the form you're looking for. And that's looking pretty cool. And again, you can see where sometimes it wants to, if it's not above the surface high enough, it'll pop below to the one below. But this has now given us exactly what we want with being able to bridge this together. So these will all bridge together now, and we'll retain a nice clean mesh to when we do it. And looks like we just need to push something over sideways. We want to avoid these hard angles, right? So we'll just kind of pull that in there, and we'll work this out a little bit better later. So there you go. It's starting to get pockets going in. We need to figure out the front. I'm going to not worry about the fact that it is different either side. And I'm not going to worry about the belt buckle until I collapse this outside one down to a polygon and work from there. So I'm also going to have to figure out what point do I transition from this collar being raised to not. And I'm thinking it's probably around here somewhere. It's raised here, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. I'm going to carry this polygon up and over in the top here um, so that I've got essentially polygons that are coming uh, up here and across. So these are going to come up and across. And then once that is once that's done here, I'm probably going to have something that's going to go back underneath a triangle, and it's going to follow this contour around. And obviously there's going to be an edge row around underneath here to get the definition, the curve in the back of the collar here. Same thing in here. At what point does it go down to? It's probably go down a couple of row, maybe one row more, and then back up and over here. And that'll be plenty to be able to define the colors and make them look, a little more natural. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this off, give the ends of the arms a little thickness. That's pretty easy, grabbing an edge loop and just pulling it in. And I'm going to go from there, and I'll show you where I get to and how I've managed to solve some of the problems in the next one.